Hello everyone, I am Guoxin Huang. As you can see, I'm a Chinese. I'm a senior undergraduate graduating in the next semester. My majors are computer science and mathematics. I'm also a researcher in the Interdisciplinary Visual Intelligence Lab at the University of Arizona. My research interest is computer vision, which is to train computers to understand images and videos. For example, I'm currently developing an algorithm to train computers to classify shrimps in the camera into healthy and sick groups. I like to communicate with people from different majors because the collision of different ideas always bring unexpected results. So, I will be happy if you want to talk to me. Today we will talk about the Black Revolution. The topic will be divided into four parts. The Long Freedom Movement, Black Nationalism, Black Power and Black Arts, Black Politics and President Barack Obama, and then African Americans and the 20th century and enter into 21st century. I will introduce the history as well as my own thoughts. Let's get started. The first part is the Long Freedom Movement. America went prosperous in 1950s, but economic prosperity doesn't mean racial equality. For example, in 1950s, the American society separate the education and housing with African Americans. According to the textbook, page 622, housing and education integration, the seemingly normal thing, was not only luxurious, but also a distant dream for African Americans. To further assist you to understand what was the society like back to that time, let's watch a video recording James Baldwin's speech at Cambridge University when debating with William Buckley in 1965.
One of the great things that the white world does not know, but I think I do know, is that black people are just like everybody else. One has used the myth of Negro and the myth of color to pretend and to assume that you are dealing essentially with something exotic, bizarre, and practically, according to human laws, unknown. Alas, it is not true. We are also mercenaries, dictators, murderers, liars. We are human too. What is crucial here is that unless we can manage to establish some kind of dialogue between those people whom I pretend has paid for the American dream and those other people who have not achieved it, we will be in terrible trouble. I want to say at the end, at the last, is that is what concerns me most.
At the beginning of the video, James Baldwin said, one of the things that white world does not know, but I think I do know, is that black people are just like everybody else. It is provoking and inspiring. As Baldwin said in the video, African Americans were still considered different with white people in many fields including economy, education, housing, medicine, and the entire civil rights. Now, let's step further into the movement, including Black nationalism, Black power, and Black arts. 1965 was when African Americans started to gain the civil rights they always deserved. But it wasn't an easy path. To gain the racial equality, African Americans started the Black Power movement associating with the Black nationalism, as well as the Black art. Black Power, Black arts, and Black culture started to be exposed more into the society. Not only African Americans were more united at that time, but also more white people started to realize that racial inequality doesn't make sense and cannot stand. There are lots of great activists emerged in this area, including Malcolm X, Robert Williams, Hugh P. Newton, and so on. There are also groups emerged such as Black Panther Party. Now, to help you know more about the situation in that area, in that age, I'd like to introduce one of my favorite people, the great activist in the Black nationalism movement. Let's watch one of his speech in the Black nationalism movement, Malcolm X speech.
Don't scare Negroes today with no badge or no white skin or no white sheet or no white anything else. The police the same way. They put their club upside your head and then turn around and accuse you of attacking them. Every case of police brutality against a Negro follows the same pattern. They attack you, bust you all upside your mouth, and then take you to court and charge you with assault. What kind of democracy is that? What kind of freedom is that? What kind of social or political system is it when a black man has no voice in court, has nothing on his side other than what the white man chooses to give him? My brothers and sisters, we have to put a stop to this, and it will never be stopped until we stop it ourselves. They attack the victim, and then the criminal who attacked the victim accuses the victim of attacking him. Yes, sir. This is American justice. Yes, sir. That's right. This is American democracy. Yes, and those of you who are familiar with it know that in America, democracy is hypocrisy. Right. Now, if I'm wrong, put me in jail. Right. But if you can't prove that a democracy is not hypocrisy, then don't put your hands on me.
This is a video of Malcolm X talking about the Americans' democracy. Malcolm X's speech reviewed the facts that white police assaulting African Americans, which endangered the life of African American, and made the U.S. democracy hypocrisy. As Malcolm said, there shouldn't be brutality against African Americans. There shouldn't be racial inequality. There should be more respect towards all racial and real democracy that gives every American equal civil rights. After several movements happened between 1965 and 1980, African Americans finally gained more civil rights. Now, let's step into the next era and have a glimpse on the black politics. We will talk about the first African American president, Barack Obama. After 1980s, African American leaders begin to realize that they need to fully involve in the country's political life. There are lots of great African American politics such as Jesse Jackson, Clarence Thomas, and Barack Obama. Now, let's dive into one of the most representative and famous activists, Barack Obama. Barack Obama is born in 1961 and graduated from Harvard Law School. Obama was elected to Illinois State Senate in 1996, where he voted to ban racial profiling and supported increasing funding for child health care. In 2009, he was elected to the 41st President of the United States. He is the first African American president. In 2009, he won the Nobel Peace Prize for his extraordinary efforts to strengthen international diplomacy and cooperation between peoples. Other than politics, African American also involved in the fields in the society while remaining its own culture. Now let's dig in and see African American and the 20th century and enter into the 21st century. From the end of the 20th century to the 21st century, African Americans are more involved in politics and culture life of the United States. Nevertheless, African Americans' average income, education, and health condition also increased dramatically. African Americans also started to more involved in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, which are the fundamental subjects that provides better technology to the society. There are also great African American authors such as Octavia Butler, who is famous for her the Parable series novels. Colson Whitehead, whose novel The Underground Railroad is highly recommended. Of course, there are great African American musicians such as Michael Jackson, who is the greatest entertainer of the 20th century, and Jay-Z, who is a hip-hop music leader. This is today's topic discussion, the Black Revolution. We covered the long freedom movement, Black nationalism, Black power, and Black art revolutions, Black politics and President Barack Obama, and African American and the 20th century and enter into the 21st century. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.